How's it going, everybody? I hope you're all having a good day. Well, the 10-footer army has finally passed 1,300 strong, and I just want to say thank you all for the support. It really means a lot to me. Just leave a comment here, and in the next video, I'll pick a random person and send you something in the mail. And in case we have any new viewers to the channel, I'm going to put the official Oxford Dictionary definition of 10-footer in the top right corner here. And with that being said, now let's start the video. So first up, despite the fact that this label says it's from eBay, this was actually sent in from a fan of the show named Rob. After the last video went up, he just sent me an email saying he had some GBA stuff that he wanted to send my way. And we got a note here, it says, getting your nerd on, hey man, these might be 10-footers, so please don't roast me, lol. Enjoy, man, keep up the great vids, your friend Rob. Really appreciate it. So first up is from a show that I'm familiar with, but it's a game that I've actually never heard of. I ended up playing this game for quite a while when I was recording footage for it because it has good mechanics and it's actually a good game. I'm about to bring back the GBA to Z series, and the first video I want to make is on Nicktoons games, so this will get a proper review there along with SpongeBob, Danny Phantom, and the Tack series. The Fairly Odd Parents Clash with the Anti-World was developed by Razorback Developments, published by THQ, and released in 2006 exclusively for the Game Boy Advance. Anti-World is the fourth and final game in the mainline Fairly Odd Parents series, following 2002's Enter the Cleft, 2003's Break Into Rules, and 2004's Shadow Showdown. After trying to prove that fairy godparents exist, Denzel Crocker is tricked by anti-fairies into stopping the world on Friday the 13th, and Timmy must fix it. The game is a side and vertical scrolling platformer, and as you progress through the game, you will gain new abilities like becoming a super gardener, where you can use your leaf blower to destroy anti-plants or use your super watering can to make them grow quickly. Anti-World uses a password system instead of a save battery. And the final things here are two brand new and sealed Game Boy Advance video cards. Now I don't have any of these in my collection, so it's cool to get some, and you would be shocked at how many of these were actually made. The first one here is Nick, The Fairly Odd Parents Volume 2. It has 4 episodes and it says it runs 44 minutes. That's actually pretty impressive. They made these things for Cartoon Network, they made them for Disney Channel, Nicktoons, Sonic, and Pokemon. They even put full movies on these things like Shrek and Shark Tale. And the second one here is another Nick one, Spongebob Squarepants Volume 2, another 4 episodes totaling 44 minutes. Just gonna make a nice addition to the collection. Again, I don't have any of these, so thank you, Rob, very much. I really appreciate the package. This is the Consignment Shop that we last visited in episode 8. Here are some old brand new Star Wars toys. You can see that they've been hanging around here for quite a while. I'm not even sure if this era of stuff is even collectible anymore. When I was a kid, I was absolutely obsessed with Star Wars, with Empire being my favorite movie and Han Solo being my favorite character. I've really lost interest in the entire series over time. I did like 7, I didn't like 8. I can go either way on Rogue One. I used to read a lot of the books back when, and I just wish with the Solo movie they had used the storyline from the Han Solo trilogy and not just make up another one. But it is what it is. Here is a rack of random plushies. The first one here is a Charlie Brown head, then there's this Vision Funko type thing, and then under this Jesse hat is a Link plush, and this is from the Four Swords, and I can never tell if these things are official or bootleg, but I think this was $4, and even at that price, I don't think it really matters if it is bootleg. Here we have some console games. There's Assassin's Creed, Uncharted 2, Lego Star Wars, regular Star Wars. I think there's Riddick in there. Call of Duty, Gears of War. There's actually a really nice selection here. Most of these games are $3 a piece. There you go, that's $3. Bioshock, one of my favorite games of all time. That's actually Bioshock 2. Here's Ratchet & Clank, what is that, A Crack in Time. Ratchet & Clank All for One is a must-have for anyone's PS3 collection. In my opinion, that's $4, but still a good deal. Nice selection here, just common stuff. Here's a Toad Air Marshal figure, brand new on card for $8. Great deal. I almost picked this up. I used to love Bucky O'Hare back in the day. The only figure that I still have is that Willie DeWitt, and I don't know why I picked that up when I was younger because it makes no sense. The other ones are all so much cooler. The game is great too, but overall Bucky O'Hare is just a cool series. Blu-rays $4 a piece. This is probably the best selection I've ever seen of Blu-rays at a thrift store. Maybe not the quality of them, but sheer quantity. There's Fast and Furious, there's Doomsday up in there, there's Serenity down here. $2 and $4 a piece are a great deal if you're looking to build these kind of collections or just have physical movies. If you're really into amazing visuals and sound, the quality of Blu-ray and 4K just blows away streaming services like Netflix and Hulu. And it's also really clutch to have physical movies when your internet is out, because a lot of the services where you buy digital movies from will not actually let you watch the movie unless you're connected to the service through the internet. Here's a nice stack of PSP games. All are $3 a piece and are in beautiful shape. Some of these games though, even at my local game stores, I've seen for $3 or less than $3. I'm not going to jump at a lot of these because even though the shape is nice, I'm not going for a full collection of PSP games, and honestly a bunch of these games are 10-footers. So things like chess and My Spanish Coach and Sudoku are things I'm going to leave behind. I mean, Lumines I think I already have. There's some Tiger Woods. After I saw these sitting on the table, I looked high and low for a PSP console just anywhere and I couldn't find one. So I'm going to guess that these were just donated just the games. I am going to grab that Assassin's Creed Bloodlines because I don't see it that often. And then here they had some vinyl, and I saw this Bananarama. Now this is a single, and I wish it was a full album because I actually love Bananarama. I don't care what anybody says, even though like they are not a metal band, I swear they are metal as hell. And here's the only game I ended up picking up there, which is Assassin's Creed Bloodlines. It's just in excellent shape, and again, this is a game that I don't see very often, and I really do love the Altair storyline. Now, speaking of Altair, going back and playing the first Assassin's Creed game is probably impossible at this point because it is very basic, but Assassin's Creed 2 and Black Flag are probably the two must-play games of the series that you just have to try out. Assassin's Creed Bloodlines was developed and published by Ubisoft and released in 2009 exclusively for the PSP. The game continues to follow the original protagonist of the series, Altair. It's the second handheld version of Assassin's Creed following the DS game Altair's Chronicles released in 2008. Bloodlines keeps the same open-world action stealth gameplay with reworked controls to fit the button layout of the PSP. While some features like Eagle Vision have been removed, other features were added like being able to instantly kill downed enemies. Exclusive content for the game can be unlocked when it is synced with Assassin's Creed 2 on the PlayStation 3. So the other weekend I was out and about and I wanted to get a new game to play because you guys know I don't have enough at home already, and I found this copy of Uncharted 4 at GameStop, which after discount was $3.99, and I'm fresh off playing Horizon Zero Dawn, so I wanted to play something else on the PS4, and as soon as I get it home, right before I popped it in, I go to Craigslist and I see this ad, which is for X-Files Resist or Serve on PS2 for $20. Now this is a game I have been looking for quite a while, and one I definitely wanted to add to my PS2 collection, and on the very bottom it says, would trade for a PS4 game. So I sent this guy a message and I asked what game he's looking for, and would you believe he said he wanted Uncharted 4? So we met up and did a trade, and here is the X-Files game. I wanted this more than I wanted the other one, and it's in excellent shape. The disc is fine. I've been looking for this game for a while, I just don't ever see it anymore. There's a couple of X-Files games out, one's on PC, one's on PS1, and just a game that I really wanted to try out. This is a show that used to scare the hell out of me as a kid, but still not as much as Unsolved Mysteries did, but it was still really well written and it went forever. I mean, can you believe that this show went for 11 seasons? So if you have time, binge the show. It did jump the shark at one point, but it was definitely well written. The X-Files Resist or Serve was developed by Black Ops Entertainment, published by Vivendi Universal, and released in 2004 exclusively for the PlayStation 2. The game is in the survival horror genre and has you exploring the mysterious town of Red Falls. Although it is single player, you can choose to play the game from the point of view of either of the series' main characters, Fox Mulder and Dana Scully, and the two actually reprise their respective voice acting roles. Resist or Serve features 3 original storylines that are described as lost episodes from the 7th season of the television show. Throughout the game, you'll be exploring the town, solving puzzles, conducting autopsies, and battling zombies and unspeakable evils as you attempt to discover the truth. And here's that local mom and pop thrift store that we've been to before. Now they moved the games up from the bottom shelf, and I think they just shifted everything else down. There's Nacho Libre, which is one of my favorite movies of all time. Battlefield 3, what do you got here? Warhawk. I don't know anything about that game. As you can see there, it's $3. All their games, I believe, are always $3. There's Connect Adventures. Now here's a copy of Wii Party, and this is a game you don't see all the time, and if you do, it's actually pretty expensive. I think GameStop even sells this game for like $30. You don't see a disc in there because they keep it behind the counter, but it is complete with the manual and all the inserts, and it looks to be in great shape, so I'm definitely going to pick this up. There are 3 copies of Wii Play here, and that's a game that is just legitimately worthless. There's a copy of Brave in there, the Burger King trilogy is still around, and here's Puss in Boots. I don't really know anything about this game. It is from the Shrek series. I mean, there's just a bunch of 10-footers here. There is an Xbox 360 headset that's brand new in the box for $8. Because it's new, it's not that bad of a deal, but you can still get them online for cheaper. And here's the back room that always makes my spyglasses go crazy. This is the Price is Right plug and play. Now, I have never ever seen this one. It looks absolutely ridiculous. It's only $5. I mean, look at that big wheel in the middle. And props to them for doing that. The Wheel of Fortune one has the wheel that you spin, but it's not nearly as ridiculous as this is. This is one I've never ever seen before. We all love Price is Right. We've all watched it when we stayed home from school, and I'm definitely going to pick it up for $5. And then here are some random backpacks. This is a Fallout 4 backpack with the Volt Boy. Now, I do love Fallout, but I love the Volt Boy. I think it's a great mascot, and he just looks great, honestly. $7, and these actually feel like they're made pretty well. I'm going to pick them up. I need a new backpack anyway, so I'm going to use one of them. I'm not exactly sure what I'll do with the other one, but I'm not going to leave them behind for $7. And here's a closer look at that copy of Wii Party. Now this game is kind of a combination of Mario Party and the WarioWare games because the mini games are a little more serious than the WarioWare ones and they're a little more zany than the Mario Party ones. It makes a really nice combination. This game is really fun. There's like endless replayability here and it's just a staple for any Wii collection. If you find it cheap, pick it up. Wii Party was developed by Nintendo and released in 2010 exclusively for the Wii. It is one of the 8 games released in the Wii Simulation series that includes Wii Fit, Wii Music, Wii Play, and Wii Sports. The game boasts having over 80 mini-games which include single-player games, pair games which are specifically built for 2 players, party games, and house party games. Party games are described as games for the whole family, whereas house party games are described as bringing the party to your living room. A combination of button controls, motion controls, and the Wiimote speaker are used to play. Some of the games can be completed in seconds while others take minutes. Wii Party received a sequel titled Wii Party U for the Wii U in 2013. And here's the indoor flea market that we've been to before. That's a copy of Alien 3 for the Genesis, and spoiler alert, I will be picking it up. It's Guitar Hero, Lord of the Rings. I can't remember what this guy's price is for this stuff, whether it's 3 for 10 or 4 for 10. There's Top Spin, V-Rally, there's some FIFA. There's a lot of Guitar Hero here. There's DJ Hero. There's Modern Warfare 2. We got some more FIFA. There's a copy of Anchorman, just a DVD. And here's a 10-footer DS games and PSP games, just a lot of sports stuff. What do we have here? There's ATV Off-Road Fury 4, I believe. Backyard Baseball, American Idol, Stanley Cup 13. There's Monster House for the PS2, which I keep meaning to pick up and I keep passing up. The stuff here is a lot more organized, a lot better organized than it was before. FIFA 99, there's Wayne Gretzky's 3D Hockey. Here is Batman, Arkham Asylum, the special edition. 25 to Life, Spider-Man, Sega GT. There's a copy of Pirates of the Caribbean in there. Honestly, bunch of 10-footers here, a bunch of stuff I don't want at all, but I do love this copy of Arkham Asylum here, but they just remade this in HD for the PS4, so I think I'm going to stick to that version. Now, here's something you don't see every day. Here is a Saturn. It says $80 with 20 games. It did come with 2 controllers, and then she had a bunch of these boxes around. Everything else pretty much that she was selling was $1 a piece, so I asked her what the 20 games were, and she handed me this wallet. And there, sure enough, I believe we're 20 games in here. There's Croc, there's a Virtua Cop, there's a boxing game, there's a stall down there. Powerslave, one of the rally games. Here's Sega Ages, Road Rash is back there. I can't remember the name of that fire game. Daytona USA. What else do we have here? Oh, Night Warriors was one that we passed. There's another Daytona USA Championship Edition. Here's a DMX CD, Robotica. There's a baseball game. Anyway, she wants $80 for all of it. I asked her if she'd sell me any of this stuff separately, and she said if I wanted the games by themselves, I'd have to pay $5 a piece, which I was fine with. You guys probably already know the 4 that I picked up. Now, all these games were pretty highly scratched, and even the 4 that I picked up, I still had to get buffed. And that's why I was kind of torn on this pickup, because I wanted to pick up the whole thing for $80. I probably could have offered her $60 and got it. But these discs were so messed up, and a lot of these games are literally just worthless. Like, they're probably worth $3-4, and I'd have to pay like $250 to even get them resurfaced. So I do have access to a free resurfacing machine, but I mean, bringing 20 games there, I don't think they'd be that happy about. And then here are 2 DJ Hero tables. I've actually never seen a white one, so I don't know if that's aftermarket or someone painted it or what. And then here's a guy who has a bunch of DVDs and Blu-rays and games. Everything here he said was $1. I see this copy of Marvel vs. Capcom 3. I'm ready to pick it up, and wouldn't you know, it's not in there. So, I mean, that's what happens when you go to the flea market. There was nothing else in here that I really wanted when I was here. I didn't look through everything. I will the next time I go. Here's a 6-inch Hagrid Pop. Now, I would have picked this up for $1 or a couple bucks, whatever it was, but his umbrella's broken off. And then here is like the knockoff section. I love this thing because like the stuff that gets knocked off is just ridiculous. I love the names. Like, look at this. That's Hatchimals, but it's not actually Hatchimals. That's not a C. That's an O. And here's all the stuff I ended up picking up. Now, I just watched the original 3 Alien movies last weekend, so I'm on a huge Alien kick right now. I'm back in love with Ellen Ripley. So when I saw this on the guy's shelf and he only wanted $2 for it, there was no way I was going to leave without it. What happened to Alien 3 is straight up criminal. They still made a good movie out of it, even though like everything was against them when making it. Alien 3 was developed by Probe Software, published by Acclaim Entertainment, and released between 1992 and 1993 for PC and multiple consoles including Sega Master System, Genesis, and Game Gear, as well as Nintendo NES, SNES, and Game Boy. The game follows Ellen Ripley as she explores the Fury 161 prison colony that's featured in the 1992 movie of the same name. As you advance through the 20 levels, you will be killing xenomorphs and rescuing cocoon prisoners. The game incorporates many items from the movie well, including the weapons, locations, xenomorph design, air duct segments, and the motion tracker. The soundtrack also rocks, with the second stage music being my favorite. The lady selling the Saturn Games also just had a bunch of boxes of random stuff for $1 a piece. Here's a Pokemon Mystery Dungeon Explorers of Time and Darkness promo disc. It says it comes with an extra episode on here. Now here's a code for a special mission that you can take and put into your own copy of the game if you want to play it. I'm actually not even sure where this promo even came from. I don't really follow any of the offshoots, but this stuff like this is the reason why I used to go dumpster diving at GameStop. Like, this is the real reason I used to go, to get this promo stuff like this that you can't just buy in the store. And then she had boxes of random cables. Here is a Saturn AV cable. If you look at that input right there, I would be able to spot that from a mile away. So when I saw that in there for $1, no way I'm leaving that behind. Next up from the dollar boxes is N64 Power Supply. Now this thing had stuff caked on it that I literally had to scrape off, but it works fine and it cleaned up great. I recommend you guys pick up all these power supplies whenever you see them, especially for $1. You can always use more, even if you don't buy and trade stuff. And to go with that, here is a GameCube one. Again, I mean, you can see it's beat and used, but it does work. I cleaned it up the best I could. $1 is the prime price for this stuff. And again, just pick them up whenever you see them because you're always going to need them. And now for the Saturn Games, here's a stall. Now I do own a copy of this game, but it doesn't work. It was sold to me that way. Luckily the seller gave me my money back, but I've been looking for a disc upgrade because that one won't even boot. I do have the case and manual though to put this into. A stall was developed and published by Sega and released in 1995 exclusively for the Saturn. The game is a 2D side-scroller where you control a stall in his search for Lita, the girl he loves. A stall can jump, attack, stun enemies by punching the ground, blow enemies away, and pick up large objects with his tremendous strength to use as weapons to get through levels. He also has an attack bird that a second player can control. Hand-drawn graphics, animated cutscenes, and voice acting are all used to bring this game to life. Next up is Powerslave. Now this is a game you don't ever see or hear anybody talk about. It actually was also released on the PS1. It is a first-person shooter, and it's a game I've been wanting to try because I just want to see where this kind of ranks up with games like Doom. Powerslave was developed by Lobotomy Software and published by Playmates Interactive and released between 1996 and 1997 for PC, Sega Saturn, and PlayStation. The game is a third-person shooter that features 8 weapons and 20 levels set in an ancient Egyptian city. King Ramses' mummified body has been taken in order to be resurrected and control the world, and you must stop it. Throughout the game you'll obtain artifacts which will grant you new abilities including jumping higher, breathing underwater, and walking through force fields. Powerslave features 2 different endings of the game, a good one and a bad one. Here's Night Warriors Darkstalkers Revenge. Now this is a series that's pretty much been forgotten about with the exception of its crossovers to other Capcom games. This is one of the 2D fighting games that Capcom ported over to the Sega Saturn from the arcade, and it's a very distinct series. Night Warriors Darkstalkers Revenge was developed and published by Capcom and released in 1995 for arcades and 1996 for the Sega Saturn. The game is a one-on-one 2D fighter with 14 characters to choose from. It's the second entry in the Darkstalkers series after the Night Warriors, which was released in 1994. Darkstalkers incorporates characters based on classic monsters, mythology, and fairy tales. Morgan Felicia and BB Hood all got their start in the series and have crossed over to multiple other games over the years, including Marvel vs. Capcom, SNK vs. Capcom, Project Cross Zone, and Super Puzzle Fighter 2, to name a few. Night Warriors was followed up by Darkstalkers 3 in 1997. And out of all the games I picked up, this was easily the one I have been looking for the longest. This is Sega Ages. It's a nice little compilation that Sega made of their arcade games. This is a game I've actually never ever seen in my life, even when I was collecting Saturn games, so it was really nice to find it here. Sega Ages was developed by Sega, published by Working Designs, and released in 1995 exclusively for the Sega Saturn. Ages is a collection that includes arcade-perfect versions of 3 popular Sega games, Afterburner 2, Outrun, and Space Harrier. All 3 games were originally released in arcades between 1986 and 1987. The compilation supports steering wheel and flight stick controllers to make the games feel more like how they originally played. Space Harrier and Afterburner 2 were previously released on the 32X, however neither versions were arcade perfect. Although not released in the US, there have been dozens of other Sega Ages compilations titled Sega Ages 2500, as well as 3D remakes of classic Sega games released for the PlayStation 2. So those are all my recent pickups. What have you guys picked up lately? Thank you for watching, and as always, stay nerdy.
Getting your nerd on, getting your nerd on, getting your nerd on.
I got a raging nerd on.